the masterclass. I was nearly about to say welcome back, nap trappers.
I know. I just about laughed out loud. Anyway.
I am in presentation mode and we are about to record the podcast, but here we are. Welcome back, Snooze members, to another week of the masterclass. These are where Beck and I jump on and just have a good chat about some of the broader topics of baby sleep, and they'll always live under the coaching tab inside the membership. So even if you miss us today, we always record it and you can jump in at any time to catch up. Today, we're going to be talking about how it's really important to highlight the effect that small changes can have on your baby's sleep. And I think sometimes it can feel like it has to be this big all or nothing mission for baby sleep, and I absolutely appreciate how it can feel like that. And particularly, Beck, you and I are both people like, if we make a plan,
Yeah.
we're in.
You're totally.
Something has to change now. Just tell me what to do. But we want to highlight that it doesn't always have to be like that if that's not what you're after, but also it sort of emphasizes that there are little things along the way that you can be doing so that it never gets to the point of feeling like it's either all or nothing. And the catalyst for this masterclass today is actually a text message that I got yesterday from a family member. I don't know what to call her. She's my cousin's wife. What's
I
that?
was going to say like second cousin, but it's not. It's your
Cousin-in-law?
cousin's wife.
Cousin-in-law. Maybe it's a cousin's wife. My cousin's wife.
Cousin-in-law.
I could just,
Cousin's
I
wife.
could just call.
My cousin's wife.
That keeps it simple. She has a baby that is probably about 11 weeks old
You
now.
could just say your cousin. Your cousin has a baby. Because it's
yes, but
also
I didn't get the text from him.
okay. So you're being specific.
I'm being really specific.
Okay, go for it.
We'll come back to the semantics. We'll Google this later. Anyway, somebody messaged me who has an 11-week-old baby in the family, and I am one of those people. I never just assume anyone wants baby sleep advice. Never. It's not my place to ever interject, whether it's a friend, family member. People know that I am readily available if they would like to pick my brain, but it's not my place. I don't care how anyone else gets their baby to sleep or doesn't. Only if you reach out. Anyway, I got a text message yesterday that said, not me getting 11 hours of sleep overnight for 5 nights now because I have implemented your advice from Insta and your podcast, and turns out my baby just wants a bloody routine. Thanks for your services. I'm currently linking your podcast to my parents group. And that came out of the blue. Out of the blue. Like, I have spoken to her and checked in, like, how are you feeling? Like, how are you recovering? Like, you're good, but never about sleep. So this really, in the best way possible, sort of blindsided me. And anyway, so I messaged back and said, this makes me so happy. Well done. What do you think, which changes do you think made the biggest difference? And she wrote back and said, hard wake at 7 a.m. I used to bring her into bed with me. So this is something you and I talk about, that 7 a.m., if you do nothing else, sometimes just setting the uptime, the flow-on effect can be profound, because what it does is it protects that first feed. You start exposing baby to light, to food, to socialization, all the things that signal to your baby's brain it's uptime. It protects your first wake window, your first nap, and even if everything falls off the tracks as the day goes on, you still rinse and repeat. Every morning that alarm goes off at 7 a.m. I personally started this at 6 to 8 weeks. I know you probably would have been like day one from hospital. We're up at 7 a.m.
Yeah, definitely.
24 hours old. I've set the alarm.
I just didn't know any other way. Like, I just honestly just did not know there was a wing it kind of approach. That's how naive I was, like, as a parent. Because
But I think that pays off so well.
Oh, it certainly paid off for my career, but and my children's sleep. But it's just, yeah, it's this is how, when you don't have a village, like, you are kind of like you're blindly going through the motions of being a parent. And because I didn't have a village, because I literally it was just me and my husband, and I had my sister-in-law and so forth, but all of my friends, all of my family were over in New Zealand. So I was just sort of like on this little island. And then I had my mother's group and whatnot, but because I'd been a nanny beforehand and my only real exposure to babies was nannying them,
Mm.
and using routines, I just naturally assumed that's what everybody was doing. It's like I've mentioned it before, I didn't realize there was a feed to sleep option. Like like I just,
What do you
I
mean?
knew that.
The menu.
Yeah, I was like, "Oh, how is this a problem? Like, what do you mean you don't have a gap between the end of the feed?" Because I just was quite naive to that. Obviously, it
Mm,
was, in the early days, it was, my hands were tied because your wake time is so short that there was
mm.
very little time between the end of the feed and going down. But as they got older, I didn't realize because it just wasn't part of my routines. So, but it is, bringing it back to the small changes. Small changes like waking at 7 o'clock are really defining moments because it starts to anchor your 12-hour day in day
Yeah,
versus
it
night.
it does it does ultimately protect your bedtime, even
Yeah,
though it doesn't feel like it, because we're building sleep pressure from the moment we wake up,
yeah,
even as adults.
mhm,
And that's what we're starting to do. And the earlier you can do that with your baby's developing circadian rhythm, there's no crying involved. I mean, I might be crying because the alarm's gone off earlier, but there's no behavioral technique
yeah,
involved. We're not modifying anything dramatic.
mhm,
It's just working to your baby's biology
mm,
and also giving you a sense of rhythm and routine when
yeah,
probably things have been felt very in flux. And if you're like Beck and I, that can also be really uncomfortable. Like, I
yeah,
just want to know what happens each day. It also psychologically for me was it doesn't matter what happened the night before. It was just like this hard reset.
yeah, yeah. I agree.
And then
It's
we
just
move
start
on.
again. We start fresh.
Start again. Who cares? We don't need to spiral about anything that happened. Start again. Start again. So hard wake at 7 a.m. She also swaddled for every nap. She used the
Mhm.
miracle blanket, which we talk about on the podcast. This I also think is critical. As babies get older but still have the startle reflex, naps can just be a fight. I don't know how to say that in something more expletive is about to come out. But they can become an absolute battle because they're fighting themselves, plus they're increasingly engaged and switched on to the little world. We always talk about, they wake up somewhere between 6 and 8 weeks. They wake up
Yeah,
to the world and all of a sudden it's hard.
yeah, it gets really hard. Naps are just a battle. And if we can make it easy, it's worthwhile bringing in all the tools,
Mm.
to get the naps happening and like not worry about creating props. And I absolutely loathe the term creating a rod for your own back.
Yeah.
Absolutely loathe that. Like I just think in the first 4 months, like the objective is to get naps happening. And so,
Yep.
you know, Twaddle dummies, brown noise, super dark rooms, like all those things can really assist with sleep and getting great sleep or getting some sleep
Mm.
ultimately. But like we're not
Yeah.
looking for it doesn't have to be great, it just has to happen. And
Yeah.
so it just, optimizing your baby's ability to fall asleep readily and easily should just be the ultimate plan for
I
young
will
babies.
I also think that by using a sort of for naps, you work to that idea of sleep associations that
Can be
babies are
positive.
looking to know. Yeah, yeah. Babies are looking to know what's coming next.
Mhm.
If it's just always kind of loosey goosey, they don't know if it's awake time or sleep time or I'm a bit tired here, I'll drift off. But getting the swaddle out signals to them, "Oh, yeah, that's right. I am tired. Oh, we've gone into a dark room. There's another sleep association." All of these things are signaling to them about what's about to happen. And I think we can't emphasize enough. We need to give babies more credit that they do know what is coming and something like a swaddle and then add on something like the miracle blanket swaddle, like the little baby straight jacket. If they're overtired, if they're just having a grisly day, to be able to take out the fight from their little nervous systems when they can't regulate the way that you and I can, to be able to just give them that deep squeeze in the form of a swaddle
Mm,
at sleep time can be so powerful.
mm.
Plus, there is none of this negotiation of I can only be the one that swaddles because I do it the best, which was definitely in my house. Like I'd be like, no, no, no,
Yeah.
no, you don't do it right. She always
Yeah, yeah.
Houdini's out of it. Like No
Yeah,
user
yeah.
error possible. Everyone's going into the miracle blanket swaddle the same way. So then she said she also started to put her to bed for every nap as opposed to just holding her or putting on the cushy next to me.
Mhm.
So I think that also plays to sleep associations. Uh, Less stimulation, probably a quiet, darker room, and also means that we're always offering that opportunity to sleep, go to sleep on their back, which
Mhm.
for a baby that usually would love a contact nap, that can be the thing that's quite jarring. It's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I'm used to being held or on this cushion, and you want me to do what on my back by myself in the middle of the day? So it's about introducing that opportunity with all the other needs being met for them to surrender and change the association.
I wonder if we, because I was from day one and I didn't have these contact nap issues, like just just like a day one scenario of I swaddle, I put down in the cot, and it was never really. I mean, I would have contact naps, don't get me wrong, if
Mm,
like we're out and
me
about
too.
and
Yeah.
so forth. Um, but I didn't have the koala-like type scenario that a lot of babies, or the Velcro baby type of scenario that a lot of
Mm.
families sort of report, and that's not to discredit what's going on. But I wonder if because I was just so, it was so black and white about it that they went into their cot, that we didn't have that because it wasn't really, there was no other option. Like, they would
Well,
just
they weren't
swaddle
allowed
and
to feed to
tight.
sleep, and well, that wasn't an
Yeah,
option. Not allowed
yeah,
to.
but
But
it
if that's
was,
all they know, that's all they know. Then.
it's all they know. It's all they know. So it's, is it the idea of start as you mean to go on. So
Mm,
the contact nap is more of like a, oh, this is just an every now and again thing, rather than we're
mm.
starting off at this point and then we're having to move into the cot. Like, I guess different
Yeah,
temperaments
yeah.
play into it because
I think temperament is a big
yeah,
thing there, but still, regardless, because I've had the spicy temperament who's like, get me out of this cot. It's still about offering the opportunity. I just used to
yeah,
do first nap of the day because that was really important to me that we had that exposure and practice. And
mhm,
B, I had a second child. I couldn't actually be holding him the
yeah,
entire time. And I think it absolutely paid dividends, even though there were very tricky moments and he was a very vocal baby.
yeah,
It became the norm and the ritual, but also I knew I got to hold him for the rest of the day
yeah,
for my own heart, but also for his needs as
mm,
well.
yeah,
And so I think, again, it doesn't have to be all or nothing if baby's temperament and your situation, and even just your own desires that you don't want baby in their room all day long. I used to,
yeah,
with my first one, who was really easy, I'd be like, I miss her. I'm going to go and get her. I didn't
yeah,
have anything else to do. I had the freedom to just hold her whilst I watched Netflix, and
mm,
she was an easy baby. So I think you can have your cake and eat it too, but
yeah,
it is one of those small steps in the right direction.
yeah.
Insert better word there, but to just start making change towards more independent, ritualized sleep.
And being confident to make it and test the waters, I guess. And so
Yeah.
it doesn't have to look perfect to begin with. It's just
No.
about like opportunity and consistency of trying, the consistent
Yeah.
application of giving it a whirl.
But here's the other thing. I think that there would, in the context of temperament, there would equally be babies that you're trying to contact nap, you're trying to do all the things, and it's not working. And you think,
Mm,
why is baby next door able to just hop in the sling and crash out for 2 hours, and I'm fighting for my life over here, rocking backward and forwards and
mm,
holding a dummy in and doing all of the things. I think there's also merit that a lot of babies in their temperament actually want the tight swaddle. Please pop me down. I've got this.
yeah,
But we also don't know to do that. So it's
yeah,
about having reflecting on those trickier contact or assisted naps, or even if they're just falling really short. Like, oh, I'm only getting 15 minutes or 20 minutes, and then the doorbell goes or someone
mm,
walks past and they're awake. It's like, oh, I could pop them down. They're very easily engaged and stimulated. Let's just see. Let's just see.
I'm almost thinking that this is taking a different turn, this chat, but I
That's
just
right. I'm
thought
used to that.
there could be merit in, for like a newborn, having a flow chart for families, like having a flow chart for parents of like, my baby is fussy, you know, are they Are they easily settled with a swaddle? Are they still fussy when swaddled? Then move on to the next sort
Yeah.
of, like,
Have you
easy
assessed your
avenue.
wake window?
And if they're
Yeah.
still absolutely chaotic and it's really not working, have you tried putting them down and letting them do their own thing? You know what I mean? So it's sort of
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's still an option, like, let's just work through
Yeah, yeah.
the
Almost like
setup,
the
I guess the
hierarchy of baby
settling
cares.
ladder. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Of
yeah.
like, okay, we've ticked all of these things. My baby's still sassing me in my arms with all of these things.
Classic. Yeah.
Okay, like it's absolutely okay. In fact, I actually, if I'm doing a consult with a family with their first baby who might be on the younger side, or even regardless of age, I'll often encourage them to almost try on for size mentally that they have another child.
Yeah.
And so, in terms of the, okay, I'm just going to quickly pop you down whilst I go and wipe the toddler's bottom,
Yeah.
and like you might be fussing in there, but I can't do it. I can't do it all at once.
Yeah, yeah.
Or, um, someone's at the door and I just need to put you down. Do just role play it to give
Yeah.
them that opportunity. And then, of course, go in and change it up. But things definitely change with each subsequent child. So I
Mm,
kind of think it's a good framework to just have a dabble in with we give you permission. It is
mm.
absolutely okay to pop your baby down and see what happens from an awake state.
Yeah.
Okay, so her next one, which I think is really critical, was letting her flap around a bit overnight. I
Ah,
actually thought
yes.
she had woken up, so would pick her up and feed her, but I've realized she's linking her sleep cycles and is not actually awake. I was the one that was waking her. Clown face emoji.
Yeah, yeah.
And
It's
this
such a big
is
one.
it's such a big one, but it's so common because they're so noisy,
They
and
are so
chances
noisy.
are you're still room sharing, and
Yeah.
so you're right there,
Yeah.
into every snuffle, squeak, grizzle, and they can sound upset with their eyes shut.
For the majority of families that we work for or we, receive like these types of feedback and questions and so forth for, I'm going to say a lot of them are first time parents. And so
Hmm,
they've never known what this sounds like or how a night might look with the baby. Plenty of
mm,
parents still go into, having a newborn thinking, I think they just sleep all night, and like that's just the way it is. Um, but how do you know that they're not awake? Like it's like at 3 o'clock, the most fragile time is 3 to 5, and you'll find that
mm.
you've given them a feed at 2:30, 3 o'clock. You've ruled that out. They are still grunting and moaning and kicking their legs around and not necessarily crying or carrying on, but they are
Not sounding
noisy.
asleep.
They're not sounding asleep, and you're
Mm,
desperately trying to speed the process up. So you're reaching over, you're patting, you're replacing the dummy, you're checking to see if they're warm, you check a nappy again. Like you're constantly doing more and more and more. And like your cousin's wife said, waking them up in the process, like
yeah,
actually creating that
yeah,
wake. And it's like because you're hardwired to do more
mm,
in these scenarios, like you're hardwired to solve a problem when it comes to your own children. Uh, you're actively trying to solve a problem that's not actually there. And so
yeah,
that's
yeah.
it's that ability to sort of take a step back and go, actually, there is no issue here. If I just let it happen, it will play out and probably be a faster resolution than if I was to keep doing all the things. And essentially, this sounds
Well,
like what's happened.
absolutely, and you and I talk about this all the time in Camp Snooze. One of two things will happen.
Mm,
Either baby will go back off to sleep or just keep doing this low grade grizzle grizzle normal baby sounds, albeit I just think it's annoying when you're
yeah.
lying there being like, just commit, just be quiet and go to sleep. And that is also why I moved my babies out of my room at 4 months,
Mm,
because mine would sleep 12 hours,
yeah.
but would do all of that hoo-ha whilst asleep, and I would stay awake listening,
Yeah.
waiting to see what would happen. The other alternative in this choose your own scenario, baby, is that they'll escalate and they will need intervention. They'll need a nappy change, they'll need a cuddle, they'll need support, they'll need a feed, whatever it is. Something will change that signals to you, oh, this is different.
Yeah.
Whereas when it's just low grade moaning, groaning, and even despite being a pediatric nurse, I've worked so many night shifts. So with a lot of sleeping babies, I was still shocked at how noisy my own
Mm.
babies were in my room.
Well,
I
I
think the
guess
white
when
noise in those days is actually more for for us
yeah. Oh,
than
yeah,
for the baby.
true. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because you're skimming the surface of sleep. You're not actually getting to this deep restorative sleep when you're room sharing like that because you're always listening for the next snuffle, next grunt. You're intrinsically linked to each other's sleep cycle. So you're waking at the 40, 45-minute mark, regardless of, if they're waking or not. Like
Mm.
you're just waking all the time. And there's that, there's just that high grade alertness to
Yeah.
even, to your sleep. So it's never really super restorative and you especially at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning when you're just trying to get back off to sleep, like you're just desperate for them to just
Yeah. Yeah.
and go
Just
down.
hush
So
now.
yeah.
I do think it's where you can get accidentally stuck in the cycle of over responding as well,
Yeah.
which may not be an issue so much at, 8, 9, 10, 11 weeks, but it can start to habitualize, particularly post 4 month sleep cycle changes and the regression that commonly occurs with that. But when things start to become more habitual, they're like, oh, this grumbling that mum would then feed me at, even though I was actually asleep, has now become a full blown, I'm going to wake up and actually I'd like some extra calories. I need something to happen at this time. And it just becomes a little bit more locked into place. And then it can have a tendency to snowball. Equally, it may not, but it's sort of the how it can start. And you can see how easily it can happen to
Mm.
anyone, including sleep consultants. Be
Yeah.
like, "Mm, how is this now a full-blown wake up when
Yeah.
I was just trying to hit the snooze button with a boob, um, for the last few weeks, and now you're, like, up, up." So,
Mm.
it's just about having again, it's that curiosity and awareness around what is normal baby sleep and baby sleep sounds, and what are the foundations that we are trying to lay to support and always move forward in a really productive way to get better sleep.
Mm.
And I think this text highlights that it doesn't have to be all or nothing. It doesn't have to be you have to wait until it's all gone pear-shaped. Sometimes you don't get a choice. Sometimes it's just great and then all of a sudden it sort of explodes. But there are so many things that you can be doing that aren't intimidating, that aren't scary, that are great baby cares from day one or very early on that really can change the course of sleep. And she's now had 5 nights of 11, like, that's huge. 11
Mm.
hours. Even if she said, "I now get 6-hour stretches," I'd have been like, "Amazing."
Yeah, I would be so stoked with that. I mean, to be fair, like I would be super happy with 2 big feeds overnight and a really small one. Like that
Massive.
would be
Yeah.
totally I'd be like, "You are getting some excellent chunks, like, in
Yeah.
between." Like, to me, that would be the perfect scenario. Anything above that is, like, extraordinarily incredible. So
Mm.
to have full night sleeps just highlights that small changes can add up to big wins,
Yeah.
and the big wins serve as confidence around moving into next stages and where things might head. So for example, the 4-month regression, like if this baby is 11 weeks now, the
Mm.
4-month regression is heading their way, which is when sleep cycles change, it gives this mum a base level to work with in terms of
Mm.
what her baby is capable of, and to not um what would be the word that I'm looking for, like
Like,
not
not feel
to.
like she has to spiral and chop and change everything and doubt
Yes, and doubt. Yeah,
doubt her
yeah, yeah.
baby's ability, doubt her ability to know what her baby needs or
Yeah, when the sleep cycles change, like she knows that this
yeah.
baby is more than capable of doing some really great stretches, and to plan accordingly, or to have a plan in place that would
Yeah, to
reflect
not feel
keeping
like, "Oh,
that
suddenly I'm
in
feeding
place.
every 45 minutes."
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm.
So, oh, she's done an amazing job. Little wins, little small wins,
Little wins,
little no, what we were just saying? Small
little
changes, big
changes.
wins.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
But they are little wins, like, even if you just thought, "I'm now able to put my baby down in their bassinet and go to the toilet on my own during the day," that's a win.
huge. Yeah,
11 hours overnight, huge win. Having a
yeah,
swaddle that a baby doesn't break out of all the time, huge
yeah.
win. It just all of these things, we are always cheering you on, and I think it's really important to highlight these little moments because we know how hard, tiring, confusing,
Yeah.
discombobulating beautiful, wonderful, exciting these early, I mean, any time with a baby can be. And it's really easy to not celebrate and highlight that you've made change and seen effect,
Mm.
even if it's micro.
Mhm.
So we are going to do that for you. We always want to hear your wins, and it just highlights that it's the small changes that really add up. And I think it's also what you and I, as your sleep consultants, this is what it is. And I always eye roll at myself with this word. It is what it is to work holistically.
Yeah.
Because even if this baby was older and we were doing a sleep training technique, it would be moot without all of these foundations that are key to not only sleep success, but also to minimize tears, which is everybody's goal.
Yeah.
So now you don't have to just believe us. Thank you, Jade. for messaging me.
Thank you to Sally's cousin's wife.
Sally's cousin's wife, cousin-in-law, semantics. All right. I think that's us for today. A nice little way to end on Friday with a little pep talk. You're all doing a wonderful job.
Mm.
Have a little look around the sleep environment, the way that your baby's sleeping, and just pick maybe a couple of these changes if you're looking to make change or see improvement in your baby's sleep, because these all add up to the bigger wins.